Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Three Wise Guys podcast. Gentlemen, how you doing? And Dolapo was on a flight today. He just got back.
I know. I want to first shout out the amazing turkey that Dolapo cooked.
Yeah.
You know, shout outs are required when they're earned, and that turkey skin looked amazing. I won't lie. I was like, wow, I want to eat that.
How was it? How was it? That's the real question here.
It was incredible.
Okay.
The two words I used to my girlfriend's pleasure was moist and balm, and she exploded when I said that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well.
What a strange sentence to put together on a podcast.
Well, whatever. It was supposed to be funny, anyways.
The two words I used with pleasure were moist and what?
And balm.
There we go.
And balm?
Yeah.
Moist and balm, and she exploded.
I started cackling immediately. I'm too immature for this.
That's kind of the point.
All right.
The turkey was beautiful. The bird tasted incredible. I won't lie.
You made love to it, didn't you?
Oh, of course. Expectations were in the gutter.
Bones were crunched.
Funny enough,
Bones are crunched and digested by this guy.
funny enough, bones did not need to be crunched because everything in the U.S. is XL. So
Too big.
Too big. So there was more than enough turkey to go around, and it was like a Friendsgiving. So not only was there turkey, there was like suya, which is like,
nice.
beef skewers. There was like chicken. There was chicken and a lot of like other meats as well. So it wasn't like just turkey, but yeah, the turkey came out. We followed a TikTok recipe, and it was me and my boy's first time doing this. And I won't lie, I was very surprised when he gave me I don't know what to call it. It was like a butter mix with all the spices.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey man, have at it. And I was like, you trust me with this? He's like, I've never cooked a turkey before. I don't think you have. I think it's on both of us if we fuck this up. I think he was just trying to share the responsibility, and
Yeah, he definitely was.
and we did it, and we put it in the oven for. I think the goal was to put it in for 4 hours. We put it in for 3, covered it with foil, and then after 3 hours was to take it out, inject some more like spices
Butter
in it,
and
and spices in the turkey, and then take the foil off and put it in for an hour. And we stuffed it with carrots and celery and rosemary. And what happened was when we brought it out, after 3 hours, we're like, ooh, it looks like we know what we're doing.
This is not a complete mess.
It was not a complete mess. And it's like you do all of that and you're like, it looks great, but does it taste great? Because all we did was coat it with like
the butter
and everything
own juice.
outside. And we put chicken stock at the bottom. And so that was very interesting, but it came out incredible.
You make like a gravy with the pan drippings, or just
no cranberry sauce. We're Nigerian men, Nigerian people. We're like, what is cranberry sauce? Why do people do that? We're not white. It was incredible, man. Turkey came out incredible. It was great people, great company, lots of food, like the classic mashed potatoes. No, not mashed potatoes. Macaroni and cheese, made by a white man too, which is incredible.
That's the one thing I like that about American Thanksgiving over Canadian. Like, we don't do mac and cheese in Canada.
No,
I don't think it's like a standard thing.
It's not like a must-have. Like in this, I would say, especially the American South. Like
it's,
you gotta
it's not an expectation. Whenever I go to a Thanksgiving in Canada, I don't expect to see mac and cheese. I've never seen mac and cheese.
What's usually the like carb?
It's pretty much all the same.
Potatoes,
like, it's mashed potatoes and bread rolls.
Yeah.
And there's a cranberry sauce,
maybe
stuffing.
like maybe roasted sweet potatoes or yams.
Yeah, there's
maybe
a vegetable, some kind of roasted vegetable, and then gravy, and that's it. Everything else is extra.
I guess stuffing as well as like another carb.
Yeah, stuffing.
Yeah, stuffing. We didn't do stuffing.
Bread is usually like croutons or something.
Yeah. Croutons, but it was great, man. We had a fantastic time, fantastic meal. Let it not be said, I was not fed in Boston, so
You were not what?
I said, let it never be said that I was not fed in Boston. So,
well, happy
Boston is
Thanksgiving to our American brothers across the border. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed your thoughtful day.
It'll kind of be a little weird to hear that because it'll probably be like when you watch this episode, it'll be at least a week and like 3 days removed from Thanksgiving. A week and what, like a week, 3 days,
exactly.
A week and 3 days.
just
Yeah.
a week.
You'll hear it exactly a week from now.
Well, I thought Thanksgiving
Monday to
was
Monday.
last Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
Thursday.
yeah.
But it's a weekend, you know.
Yeah,
so.
fair. It sounded like most of my American clients like didn't do the Monday and they did the Wednesday. Like they did the Wednesday before.
Yeah.
But like, you know what? Like that's neither here.
I was working with someone in the U.S. on like a project I'm working on at work, and yeah, he only worked Monday. He took Tuesday and Wednesday off, and
Because they'll get the Thursday off, but they want to sleep in. Yeah, that's kind of so you can have a late night and not have to worry about work the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking of cross-border situations, or I guess in-border situations, we'll do some headlines, and then we'll kind of get into the teaching segment after that, which we still don't have a proper name. Well, we said wisdom, right?
yeah, wisdom
Wisdom from the guys.
Well, it's just called wisdom for now.
It was funny before we get into it. I walked into our neighbors. I'm not going to say names, but you know the parents of the neighbors next door. They're usually out of town for a while, and it was really nice seeing them again. And they were like, "How are the three wise guys?
really,
How are the three wise guys doing?" And I didn't know that people in the neighborhood like have accessed our website before, and this was confirmation of that. She says she's seen us on the internet.
really,
Yeah.
really.
100%. When she talks to the other neighbors down the street, they're like, "Oh yeah, I was just talking to the three wise guys down the road." Yeah. I thought that was pretty
We
funny.
accessed our
That's
website.
fun,
Apparently, she said, I've seen you guys on the internet, and we don't really post on Instagram too much.
No.
YouTube, it's basically a YouTube and website. Essentially, is all that's.
It's probably like a kid saw like a clip on YouTube or something and showed their
Probably.
parents.
Yeah,
That's incredible. That's cool.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, shout out to putting yourself out there. But in Canadian news, this summer we actually had an insane tourism boom. Our tourism jumped, I think it was 9% almost. So the exact numbers are that this summer generated $59 billion in tourism revenue, and that's an all-time record.
That is crazy.
I thought that was pretty crazy. And considering too that World Cup is coming up this summer,
Yeah, that's
I feel like it should be even better than this summer, right? So 75% of all the spending came from Canadians themselves. That's 44.4% or $44.4 billion in domestic travel. And that was also an increase. And international visitors were 14.6 billion. So it's still down from pre-pandemic heights. But the interesting thing about this is that international tourism in the US declined by 7% over the past year. So that is, and we gained, that 9% number was a gain in international travel, by the way, not necessarily overall tourism, but it seems like we've taken a lot of the market share that the US has lost due to tariffs or whatever it is, anti-US sentiment, XYZ, things like that. But yeah, it seems like domestic tourism is on the path to replacing international tourism.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that was always standard, to be honest. I have no idea. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool stat. I don't know if you guys noticed more people in the streets this year in the summer.
Well, it seems like from this article, it's saying like Alberta and like the western of Canada seem to be like the primary increase, but like I don't know if I particularly felt it. Like
it was the coasts. So it says the Atlantic Canada as well.
Yeah. So it seems like the two, like actually, and funny enough, you took a trip out.
I was
to
gonna say
to
I
the coast this
personally
summer.
contributed in both fronts. I imported an American for Carabana,
Nice.
and housed him and showed him Canadian culture. and he did spend.
Yeah. I will also say, I think since the tariff started, we have not been to the States for skiing, although we've only been there once. But you know, the last 2 trips that were last year, we stayed in Canada, and the year, and this year
we've been twice. Vermont is also
Vermont. I was gonna say we.
Oh yes,
because we did Vermont and Colorado in the same
year. But then I'm saying,
and then
like,
next year we did not touch the U.S.
Yeah, we didn't go to the U.S. And this year we're also not going to the U.S. Staying in Canada, kind of thing. So maybe some small things. I was kind of surprised that 44.4 billion was domestic. That's a pretty big figure.
75% is a big chunk.
Yeah, that's a big figure.
I'm curious if that has always been a thing or not.
Yeah, like I'm kind of glad.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I went out east, which not out west, and the goal was to go to a coast. It was to either go to the East Coast or go to the West Coast, but I don't drive, so the West Coast was going to be a little bit more difficult, and so I ended up going east, and I did spend a decent amount of money, less than I would have spent in the U.S., being completely honest, so that was a win. I speak where I went for vacation on the East Coast, PEI, speaking with the hosts of the locations that I stayed in, they all spoke about the boom. They all said a lot of people, it was a great season for them, and they made a lot of money, and it certainly was the U.S. sentiment. They spoke about it, that a lot of people were exploring more of Canada because they wanted to make a deliberate effort to not go to the U.S. I think it remains to be seen how sustainable this would be. People like Luke in performance marketing still continue to promote Santorini and Costa Rica and Brazil.
I wish,
on our feeds.
I don't have those fun clients.
It remains to be seen. Another additional thing in Boston was my friends. They go to the Water Lantern Festival and they had like a deck of cards, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, wow. And they were like, they loved it. So
wow.
Yeah, you are influencing people and affecting
all the readers out there. Davin, if you're listening to this, I want you to pull up the 10-minute clip of a Dolapo roasting this event on the podcast. Because he did roast this event on the podcast.
You know, it takes a man to admit when he was wrong, and I was wrong.
You just don't even remember that you said that. I don't. Admit that I was wrong. The first thing out of your mouth was, did I say that? And I'm gonna repeat what I said back then. You're not the target demographic for it.
I roast a lot of things, as you guys know.
When he said you roasted, I just believed it.
I said I believed it too. And maybe I shouldn't have believed that.
You should have. You should stick up for yourself.
You know what it was? You know what it was? It was more so because, sorry, this is a little bit of sidetrack, but when we originally started talking about this client, I was talking to you about like the business side of this business, and you guys,
I was heavily skeptical.
Granted, we're very skeptical. So, same as me, because I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Sounds way too good
when it comes to like event-based businesses, right? So, anyway, I won't speak too much more of that, but yeah, sorry, Boston.
All of this to say, like, it remains to be seen how sustainable it was. Yeah. I will say I do want to go to Europe next year, and I did try to go to Europe this year.
Yeah,
but circumstances did not allow. However, I did enjoy going out east. I do want to go out west, and it is cheaper to go out east. It's more expensive to go out west, but I believe if you time it properly, it can make a lot of sense. Yeah. So to be seen. I do appreciate more local Canadian adventures.
You said it's cheaper to go out east than it is out. Both options are cheaper than going to the U.S. at this point, and Europe.
Yeah.
Just exchange rates. And that might be a reason why most folks are deciding to stay in the country. Like, one of the questions I was going to ask is, like, do you think people are just being resilient and like sticking up for their economy, or is this like a cost of living kind of constraint?
Cost of living is absolutely part of it. Like, that's also the reason why a lot of people are traveling to other destinations in other parts of the world. So for example, like, you know, in the past, like if you go to Asia, it's Japan. It's Korea.
That's what you performance marketers are doing right now. Sorry. Right. It's Japan.
You found a hole and you just don't want to let it go.
I don't know why you keep saying performance marketer.
Like, where is this coming from? Someone told you something this weekend and it stuck with you, didn't it?
No one told me anything this weekend. Funny enough.
Yeah, sorry. Can we dive into something?
He definitely read something.
Why is the performance marketing part the part that you're attaching.
You brought it up twice, and I have to answer to it.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Okay.
Because specifically for tourism and travel,
Yeah.
I believe, with no evidence, and I need to state that that's why it's a belief, that most of the trends and the destinations that people go to are influenced by social media.
Yes.
I think, like,
Yeah.
I think the Mykonos and the Santorini and the Brazil and the Japan, all of these have just popped up in the last 2-3 years. And for some reason, just within our, okay.
Not Mykonos and
That's bad.
Santorini specifically,
Not like
I
2-3
would say.
years,
Yeah.
right? Like it's been popular for over a decade. I would
Within
say.
our demographic?
Well, our demographic has only had money
yeah.
for the past
You know what?
5 years.
Your
We've
point's-
only had purchasing
yeah.
power for that.
Wait,
long.
I'm
That's why
kind
I
of-
said without evidence.
I'm kind of getting your point in the sense of like, you're right. These places have been like the destinations, but what influenced the older generation was more things like celebrities and like movies and like media, right? Like those like those kind of places being featured in media. Whereas now it's like the people our age are seeing the influencer go to these places, and that's why they want to go to those places. So I see the.
That's,
I see the point.
that's exactly.
I agree. Well, like one like really blatant example, I think is I didn't know what Lake Como was until I read an article that George Clooney has a house there, and this was way more than like 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? But like when I was on Instagram, the pictures of people would be Lake Como, nice little like house. They were all trying to emulate this like George Clooney style of living, and then it's became from the celebrity to the influencers because now a lot of the people who go there have no idea about George Clooney's house, but they just saw it on it.
Yeah. And to finish my go at performance marketers is the push to make luxury more accessible to the masses is, I think, not futile. I think it's a performance marketing thing and has, influenced specifically tourism and travel. I know it's influenced others, but I want to speak specifically to tourism and travel, and that's why I keep saying the performance marketing thing. And that's why I bring it up. Again, no evidence, and we can, I'm an idiot, and I'm just going at Luke for fun.
And sorry, just to close off on that one, when you say performance marketing, you're kind of coming at it from the standpoint of because it's creating action, it's performance marketing, right?
Well,
kind of thing.
I'm going performance marketing because it's specifically marketing on Meta, Google, and TikTok.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would say, depending on the way you frame it, that could definitely be correct. It's just different agencies would define their functions differently. And sorry, just to close off on the original point, I think this trend should continue actually based on kind of correlated to what you're saying, because there's definitely the places in the world that are most popular are popular partially because of the natural elements, but the other element is definitely marketing and infrastructure and stuff like that, right? Once a place starts getting hype, the best restaurant groups in the world, the best hospitality groups, they then go and open up resorts there. Best chefs go and open up restaurants there. Continues to kind of create that feedback loop, which is why there's those types of destinations across the world. And I think Canada definitely has the natural element. It just doesn't have as much of the promotion and the investment, right? Obviously Banff is one location that would be a little bit more built out, but when we went to Red Mountain or some of these other resorts, honestly, nothing for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers and kilometers, and then you get to a resort that's a little bit developed, but great spots, you know what I mean? Great local spots. I could definitely see if there was more attention onto those places. Over time, the tourism should increase. And geographically, Canada is not that different from the US. Another element that the US definitely has on top of Canada is it's easier to get to the US, you know what I mean? LA being one of the most major airports, et cetera. So as infrastructure develops, I think hopefully it should continue, just because honestly, when Trump recently announced that there's going to be that massive fee for Canadians that visit US national parks. I know there's some unique US national parks.
This guy?
Yeah, Trump announced this, and
hear about this.
and it was the first thought I had was why would Canadians go out of their way to go to a US national park? If you're there, I guess okay, yeah, go. And don't get me wrong, there's iconic national parks in the States, but honestly, I don't think there's anything nature wise that the US has that is crazy in comparison to what we have. It might be different, you know what I mean?
It's different.
But like we have amazing nature in Canada, man.
Incredible
like coast to
nature.
coast, it's like
Incredible.
you can't, like you literally cannot replicate it. So
Incredible. I agree. I'd love to see it grow and continue, and I want to participate a little bit more and discover. I remember going up north was a big thing, seeing the Aurora Borealis. That's still a goal. Maybe we make a trip up to Yellowknife if you boys are down.
that is, I remember that was a tourism thing we were looking. Oh, dude, this is a classic Josh tangent.
There was
a phase where Josh was like so like heavy going into like, yo, we can go see the Northern Lights. It's a 60% chance, and it would just cost us $2,500 a university.
I remember that. We planned the whole trip out.
So it's the
National
declaration is not against just Canadians. It's all foreign visitors.
Oh, sorry.
Pay $250, and U.S. residents pay $80.
Was it free before?
No, I think it was the same.
It was all the same price.
Okay.
Like, there's an entry for the park, right?
Okay.
Apparently, I know there's certain parks here where foreigners actually get in for free, and Canadians have to pay, which is
Really?
Yeah, the Canadians completely
I think I read that somewhere.
We're on some other shit.
Anyways, well, all right. Well, let's move on. So, there is a group of researchers in the UK, the University of Cambridge, that have recently published a study that changes the way that we've thought about our brains developing. So I'm sure you guys have both heard by now, your brain develops until the ripe age of 25, and then everything after that is mental decline, essentially.
I'm chuckling because of one of our group chats. Someone was like, they bought the domain frontal lobe development.
Yeah, Carson.
What a guy! I love him.
Well, this study that is a crazy tangent.
Yeah, you got the .com too, which is like pretty impressive. It's like, all
No,
right.
it's about our brain
Honestly,
development.
these researchers should go buy that domain.
Honestly, we should sell it to them.
So they scanned the brains of 3,802 people, and they found out that the brain changes at 4 points in your life. 4 points at ages 9, 32, 66, and 83. Yeah, question?
I'm curious about the sample,
Okay.
but we wouldn't know. But that's something I'd want to investigate later. But continue.
Sure,
9,
yeah.
32, 66, and something.
They detected 5 broad phases of brain structure in the average human life that are split up by 4 pivotal turning points between birth and death when our brains reconfigure. So the first one is age 9.
Okay.
So from infancy through early childhood, the brain is defined by network consolidation, is what they say. So all of the connectors between neurons called synapses that were overproduced in a baby's brain whittle down. And then the more active synapses survive, shaping the brain's early architecture. Okay. And then, so the next one, this is when they, everyone was like, oh, at 25, you're cooked essentially. So now it's age 32. That is the next, that is when you get into, I guess, your prime mental capabilities or whatever it's called. So in the early 30s, the brain's neural wiring shifts into adult mode. White matter continues to grow in volume, so the brain's communication networks are increasingly refined based on MRI scans showing how water molecules move. And I don't really understand, I think, the technical aspect of any of this. But they did say that these changes keep the brain at an enhanced level of cognitive performance that peak in the early 30s and is the brain's strongest topological turning point of the entire lifespan. And this lasts for about 3 decades. Yeah.
First of all,
that's
that's-
until 66.
This gives me a lot of hope because I do not like the current state of my brain. I thought it was locked. I thought this was locked. I thought 25. All right, it's downhill. That's what my dad told me, like straight up. Like
Really?
I remember one time he drew me. Bro, I'm not even kidding you.
And
He
these
drew
Chinese propaganda.
Dude, he drew me a graph, bro. It was like, I remember the shape of it because it was like this, and then like it would go like exponentially up, and then he's like, you would hit 25, and then it goes up a tiny bit until you hit like 30, and then it starts going slowly down, and then he was like, when you hit 50, it starts
drop.
going boop. I remember this graph so clearly because I was like, bro, I am screwed.
So age 66.
Okay.
This is early aging begins. This is when early aging.
So the drop doesn't really happen until 66. It sounds like.
Well, and then it's gradual, right? And then
Really? Okay.
yeah, because there's another stage, right?
Okay.
Still after this, right? So the mid-60s turning point marks the
The
start of an
Joe Biden
early aging
stage.
phase of brain architecture. It's a more mild period and is not defined by any major structural shifts. However, the team still uncovered meaningful changes to the pattern of brain networks on average around 66. So I guess it's just the pattern in how you think, not necessarily cognitive performance.
Yeah.
So there's a gradual reorganization of the brain networks. And then this is probably related to aging with further reduced connectivity as white matter starts to degenerate. This is an age when people face increased risk for a variety of health conditions that affect the brain, such as hypertension. And then the last stage, 83. So this is late aging. So this is the data for this final era is more limited, but the defining feature is a shift from global to local. That's how they described it. Whole brain connectivity declines even further, and it relies on certain regions as others fail. So that's kind of what this one is categorized as. So just an interesting tidbit on a Monday evening for you to understand how your brain works. Yeah,
Cool.
I think this gives me more ammunition. I always knew I was an idiot. Still am an idiot. Was hoping, it would change soon. Good to know 32 is kind of the checkpoint I should be looking toward now. And
Not 25.
yeah, not 25 because it's past.
Yeah.
This
That's what that was my point.
We all saw 25 come and go. And we did nothing.
there has been improvements, but not as it wasn't as stark or the upswing wasn't hockey stick. It was
25
still very linear. I'm looking for some hockey stick growth in my brain development and maturity.
Yeah,
so
25 was not a significant year.
No, it was not. 26 has been more significant than 25. So far. Let's see.
That's good. It's good. It's good to keep in mind too that the results of this study did show that like growth is possible across this entire spectrum, right? It's just kind of how the brain works and how things are wired. Like this whole stuck in your ways kind of perception that we've had about our brain is not exactly what it seems, right? Like we enter a different stage at 32, but we're still able to learn and gather things, and like the building of neurons continues even into your 40s, right? So 32 is not hard and fast. 32 is just potentially like this is the average when most people start to think differently or either maybe take things seriously that they didn't before. I don't really know the exact details of what they studied, but just knowing that they were able to break it down on a physical level or a physics level or a biological level. Biology. Yeah, sorry, apologies. I've just insulted. I insulted this man so deeply right now.
Well, neurons have electric signals, and that's how they
the nicest I've ever seen him be towards biology.
I know, it's crazy.
Until they figure out the cure to cancer,
You know what's funny? This is a complete tangent, but I saw this like meme recently that was like, basically it was like saying like engineer is the hardest degree. Like engineering is the hardest degree. Like that's what this meme was saying, because it was like, oh, biology's majors like complaining about things, but then they're like, oh, it's not actually that bad. And then it goes to like chemistry, and then it goes to like math or some shit. And then everyone in the comments was like, no, the hardest degree is actually physics. And I was just thinking about Dolapo because I was like, no, he dropped out of engineering and then went to physics. Again, this was my exact thought in university when you told me this, because you were like, I'm doing a physics degree. And I was like, because it's easier? Like, what?
No, because it held my attention better.
Oh, okay. It was okay. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Not because it was easier.
Not saying something, I think. That was you holding her attention.
Well, let's not go into that.
We'll go to the next one. I want to talk about Canadian holiday spending trends. So Black Friday just passed. We don't know the stats yet because it literally just ended. I mean, Cyber Monday is today.
Shopify was going off, like running performance marketing ads.
Oh yeah. So are we. I'm not gonna say the company name,
of course, yeah.
So are we.
So this is both of you conspiracy.
We're just trying to get people to shop more, I guess.
Luke, I'm sorry.
It's fine. This is what I get.
This is what I miss.
A few key important things to point out. So based on the surveys, right? So the average Canadian planned to spend $1,347 over the holidays. The article itself says what a difference that is, but I didn't write that down here specifically on its own. But that's less important. 86% of individuals said that inflation affected their shopping behavior.
Really?
Yeah. And this was a study from who did this study? BMO did. BMO did this study. So it's reputable. But yeah, 86% said inflation affected their shopping behavior, which I thought was a really
Insane
takeaway.
I'm curious, like for us here, has inflation kind of ever factored into your shopping decisions? I know it factored into my decisions when I was in university and very broke.
dude. Honestly,
now
this is the first year where I feel like things feel a little more expensive.
really,
Like for me, just because like also like I haven't been spending the most like intelligently this year, but I haven't like on in full earnestly, like I don't think I have like in the past few years. And like generally speaking, and you know what, maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I'm no longer actually doing that well for like my age group, but like I just feel like I'm starting to see like the amount of money that I'm putting into like savings and investments a little bit lower. And like just even like when we go to Costco and stuff, like I'm buying like, you know, not that much stuff. I'm like, oh, the other thing I noticed too is shrinkflation, right? It's not even just like the prices going up. It's like sometimes you buy the exact same product and you're like, this is definitely smaller. You know what I mean? It's like just that element. But for example, this is the first year where I didn't buy anything on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. I usually just buy something like, to be completely honest, for no fucking reason. Like last year I got my Sony earphones. I don't think I opened them for 3 months. And then
Really?
I started using them like this year. You know what I mean? Like, and they're great. Like I ended up
the over ear
yeah, like I ended up really enjoying this purchase once I started using it, and I was like, oh, this is a great. But you know what I mean? I didn't need it. Like I clearly wasn't like saving up for it. I wasn't like I'm gonna buy it. The year before, I think I bought something. Like this year was the first year I actually just didn't purchase anything like Black Friday.
Mr. Baller.
I also didn't buy anything. I never buy anything on Black Friday. But the reason why I don't buy anything on the reason why I don't buy anything on Black Friday, and I was talking about, I was looking. Luke's laughing because I was looking through like a sales page on Best Buy. All right, I was like, oh,
just looking for shit.
I was just looking. I was like, oh, I have a $200 gift card. Let me see if there's anything here I can get.
Another one after the Dyson purchase.
No, it's the same one.
Okay.
I will say, yesterday was the day.
I didn't end up buying anything.
I know, and I knew you weren't necessarily going to, but yesterday was the day I really wished you was here.
Yeah.
Because
No, I would have been in peak form.
I'll tell you why I don't usually buy anything on Black Fridays, because I buy myself generally whatever I want throughout the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I don't feel like I don't like being like coaxed into it. I'm like, oh, I want this. I'm just gonna go get it.
And by the way, that's actually the way to do it, because that's when you know like you actually want something, where you need something.
If I want something, I get it.
Yeah, if like a sale is the reason you're buying something, generally you don't need it. But sorry, I just want to close off on this. Yeah, Arya yesterday went from like, should I buy this humidifier to should I buy this robot vacuum to should I buy this towel warmer? It was like a $200 towel warmer.
$150 is like off like 200. It's this big thing where you put like towels in it and it heats it up.
I don't want to
as you shower.
I don't want to hear about this. Okay,
you have no choice. We're on a podcast.
Waste the money. I guess I was gonna say, Luke, I think privilege, because as the brokest on this podcast, I will say it's always been for me, oh, I want something.
He just continues with this notion.
Like
this is completely not
Guys, let me get my point off. Thank you. As someone, honest. No one here is honest. Okay, let's leave that alone.
Okay.
As someone that plans finances judiciously, I know like, oh, I need something.
Okay.
And I'm like, or I think instead of buying it right now, why not, think like my mom. What would my mom do? My mom would say, Dolapo, wait for Black Friday and Boxing Day and seeds then. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So
fair enough.
I feel like I did that most of my life growing up, and I haven't done that as much recently, but I believe a lot of people do that, where
absolutely
they look at something, they stalk something. I remember I did that for a TV that you helped me. Yeah, they wait. You know, I remember when I worked retail, people would come in the store, like look at something, look at a pair of shoes. They would say, like how's inventory on this? Huh? What kind of question is that? You know, it's a decent amount. Do you think it's still gonna be here during the holiday season?
Interesting.
Yeah, it would be. And they'd be like, discount? And we would be like, we don't know until the holiday season comes. We won't know whether it's gonna be discounted or not. And they would say, okay, I'll be back. And I remember in retail, there would be a decent amount of people that did that. They just come, kind of stock, set their eye on something, and they'd be like, I'll be back. You know, and they kind of just stock it over the year. So I think there is a decent amount of people that do that. And, you know, we're Mr. Baller over here, Mr. I haven't spent intelligently all year, you know, so you guys clearly, finances aren't an issue, right? So that's
okay. Also, just to take a step back, I think the other thing that you highlighted there is there's a...
this is why he's Mr. Baller. Look, he's trying to couch it. I was like, they're not.
I mean, it's fine. Like I think I keep a good eye on my savings, and I'm like, okay, as long as I save like this percent, I'm good, and then I'm actually very comfortable spending the rest of it, right? As I have my threshold set at the beginning of the year, and then when I hit it, it's all bets are off.
I'll say what I said to my mom this weekend. Typically, a traditional Chinese man does not think about his expenses because in a typical Chinese marriage, the wife handles all finances. The husband does not know how much money is in their bank account.
There's nothing typical about you being Chinese.
Exactly where I was getting to. Unfortunately, I am not dating a typical Chinese woman, so we are completely fucking clueless
all
at the
the bets
second.
are off.
But you know, this is the prime. I am like working on this with a fever, like a feverish pace because of like the implications next year. So like I'm trying to get a hold of that. But sorry, the other thing I was just gonna highlight was I think to your point, and I've been saying this to all my clients actually, this is like good just coming from like a marketing and sales promotion standpoint. Black Friday as a holiday has lost its like charm in terms of it being the major sales holiday. Like when the like America and North America and the world was more retail focused, like physical shopping focused, like Black Friday would actually be the best sale by far. And a huge component of it too is like I was actually talking to a client about this like a month ago at our end of year dinner. A huge component of that is that once you get people in stores, you can clear out everything. So a part of the tactic that no one actually talked about as a part of Black Friday is you end up losing money on some of your premium products because it's like a PS5 3 or whatever back then, like discounted 50%, like it's going to be pretty close to margin, right? But the benefit of Black Friday is because people are already in there, you end up clearing out a ton of inventory that used to just hold space. And no one like unless you work retail or you work with a client that like has a retail business, you wouldn't really understand that like just having a product on the shelf that's not moving is very expensive for the business. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
It's just sunk cost. Every day that it stays there,
exactly,
it's sunk cost.
Exactly. And like depending on the model, you either have to buy it back, like either you have to try to get the supplier to buy it back, or you have to like, you know, try to clear it in some way. Anyway, all this to say, because of that, I think people discount more consistently throughout the year, and like people are catching on to that as well. Like you're waiting for Black Friday, and you're looking at the sales, and you're like, it's actually not that good of a deal. So like, I'm not gonna like wait for it. Sort of thing.
I heard of.
Oh, dude, like, and if it is 50%, it's marked up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not actually a truly 50% sale. So anyway.
I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say one last because to answer your question about like have like inflation affected your purchases? So I don't know if you guys have noticed.
This comes from Mr. Baller in the house.
I've turned down my like travel spending significantly. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
I will say
right, and all of that money basically I've put towards savings. Right, anything that I would spend in a regular year towards travel. Now I travel for work and things like that. I try and get tickets for cheap, whatever it is. But travel is probably the biggest expense that I've paid the most attention to and reduced. And I've noticed inflation has hit travel in a big way.
You've definitely also stopped like buying random shit.
Yeah.
Because like I remember there was like a period last year where I would come home and there would be like consistently a package here for you. And like now when I come home, most of the time there isn't package. And then, a lot of times,
the most packages.
a lot of times I'm like,
don't have the most
You-
packages.
I don't know
We're gonna
about
start
that
counting them. We're gonna start
Recently,
counting them.
but
we
just to
definitely
clarify, D's buying like books. Like he's not like
There we
Fair
go.
enough.
I
Yeah,
buy
he's
books,
buying
kids.
books. Like it's
Knowledge is
fine.
power.
Pumpkin spice lotion.
Oh yeah, and the pumpkin spice lotion.
Okay, take care of your skin, guys. Okay, don't let Arya make fun of you. Not everyone is a hairy fucking Asian man. Okay.
What? You just combine Luke and I?
Hairy
No,
Asian.
aren't you West Asian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. He doesn't even know what he is anymore.
Amazing. Okay.
Wait, I was gonna segue us to say we're talking Black Friday.
Yep.
Luke is spitting some gems about how consumer behavior has shifted from in store to online, and now the discounting is a little bit more consistent, like throughout the year. This is how they get us. Okay, so Luke, maybe you want to share some more knowledge about the ways performance marketers get us.
Sure, yeah, I can talk a little bit. I know
That's why he mentioned performance marketing twice.
I know. I was like, there's something here, but I'm gonna let it breathe. Also, I was gonna say this: you are not lying about the number of ads Shopify is running. These are the number of active ads that they have on Meta right now. It's like you can see. It's like,
And I'm not even on Meta. I'm on Twitter, so they're running and
bro, this is actually crazy. 'Cause it's like you even look at like a comparable like size company, like, well, I guess not comparable. Staples is much smaller, but like you look at this, like it won't be nearly as much. You see even this bar, completely. We're done. Okay. Like, maybe a decent amount too, but you saw like when they loaded, the bar was
What
completely
is this?
different.
Global ads?
Global, yeah.
Yeah, this is global.
But it's on one account. Like Staples has different accounts for their
This is
different
public
things.
access. This Meta ads platform thing.
So the reason why,
Performance marketers.
yes,
have
so
access to it.
the
Not
reason
mere mortals like
everyone actually does because of the EU actually. So
shout out
because
Europe.
of data privacy laws, you can actually see at any time your competitors' ads on Meta, TikTok, Google, like any platform. There's a version. Like TikTok has what they call the creator library. This is called the ad library, and then Google's is called some other shit. But yeah, I wanted to kind of in my education segment today, I do not know anything about renewable energy except it's good because my dad works in the space.
Except it's good.
Yes, except nuclear good. That's what I've always known that since, or maybe I was propaganda as such. But
He's an engineer. He's a nuclear engineer.
yeah, so I wanted to talk about for my education segment. I wanted to talk about what I guess like marketing is and like what it does, but mostly specifically, I kind of wanted to talk about why marketing is not a professional service.
Okay.
Because when you kind of think about like when you go to business school, right? Like me and Arya went to business school. Sorry, not all of us went to business school, but they
I
kind of
moonlighted business school.
He did moonlight.
Yeah,
That's
I was,
true,
I was
yeah.
always in you
did
guys' office.
you had the entrepreneurship path.
That's true.
Yeah.
But there's like those core veins, right? There's like accounting, there's finance, there's marketing, there's HR, and then there's kind of like management, which is a bit more ambiguous.
HR, you can get a degree in HR.
You can get a degree in HR, yeah.
Like that needs to be abolished. Like what's going on? So sorry. That just
We're not here
Says
to
the guy who didn't go to business school.
says the guy that
Says the guy who doesn't want to do that job.
Says the guy that said something pre-podcast that made us actually consider getting HR. But outside of that point, like you think about like finance, that's a professionally certified industry. You know what I mean? There's the CFA level 1, there's the CFA level 2. Accounting is probably the most professional like kind of like vein in business, like CPA. Getting a CPA itself, like I remember when I was in high school, like my accounting teachers were like, if you have a CPA, you're going to make 6 figures. Like that's the minimum, right? HR, I don't know much about HR.
Exactly.
We've heard Dolapo's opinion about HR. I won't speak too much of that, but like
Arya, you tell us shit. What do you think about HR?
I can tell you.
president of HR Association.
He was?
You knew this.
I promise you. I knew you were the president of a club. I didn't know what the club was. And everything is coming together.
No. I'll tell you right now.
Crystal clear in my mind right now.
I'll tell you right now. If you'll allow me to explain.
I don't want you to explain.
Well, you have no choice. That club, and Luke can vouch for it. I gave honestly. Can you shut up?
Oh, sorry.
That club I gave less than ideal fucks about.
Oh
Honestly.
yeah, of course you did.
I ran that club bankrupt. I remember we threw an event that nobody showed up to. It was the one that I was like begged you guys to come to, if you remember.
I remember that.
It's a lot of running out of money,
Bro.
Yeah, no, there was not.
That's why you don't hire HR people.
Yeah, well, that's thank you for that. That's what happens when you don't care about a club enough.
But Aria can't be taken away from your resume.
No, it can't. It's on my resume.
Yeah,
I leave it there.
President of HR Association. So beware what you say around Aria. That's all.
This is Dolapo's last time on the podcast.
Look at that. HR just firing.
This is your last time on the podcast. No severance for you.
Look at that.
Take it up with our lawyers.
We can see if it's on Aria's LinkedIn.
It is on my LinkedIn.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, the president is U Ottawa HR Association.
All the way at the bottom. All the way. Yeah,
There we go.
President.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I knew, I just, like,
No,
it
you
was,
did know this.
okay, I didn't.
We mentioned stories about it multiple times.
Yeah, and you knew Aria was the president. I gave
And I gave Luca jobs too.
less of a fucks because at that time in our business school, I was like blacklisted from being on a club because I had like the spat with this other
I remember.
with this person who did have clout at the business school. So I was effectively just blacklisted. They were like, "Do not hire this guy as like a VP." And Aria just was like,
Just straight up hired
like
him.
he was like, "Yo, I'm struggling." I was like, "All right."
Let's not derail this marketing. HR should be abolished, but marketing.
Sorry. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So wait, I was gonna say I don't think there's a professional designation for it. It's just a stream that you can
I don't
take in
think
school.
so. I don't think if there is, I don't know.
I've
what
never.
it is,
I don't think I've heard of a professional designation.
No, it would be hard. Well,
Let it go. Let it go.
because
Go
there
to
isn't
marketing.
universal HR standards, are there?
isn't. No.
HR needs to be, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's something that Aria made up and like it forces.
Okay, so I guess where I'm kind of coming from is like marketing to me always felt like a line of service within a business that like should have a professional designation but doesn't. And then when you kind of like drill into marketing, you might think like there's specific things within marketing that you could designate, right? Like so, for example, you might say like in accounting you can designate accounting because accounting is about like accuracy and it's about understanding current state, future state, like, but I would say accuracy is the core fundamental, most important part about accounting, right? Same thing with like kind of finance in the sense of like projections and like understanding like future facing, et cetera. There's a degree of accuracy there as well. And in marketing, there's things that require accuracy as well, right? Like there's paid media where, you know, it's very math based. You're dealing with budgets, you're dealing with budget ranges, you're dealing with cost per clicks and things like that. So it is a level of accuracy there, like SEO, you're looking at search volume, et cetera. But I kind of want to just talk a little bit more about marketing. The reason why there isn't a professional designation and why it's kind of hard to get started in the service is because the core of marketing is about basically helping people make decisions. Like that's the most simple way I can kind of put it. And
Helping,
the way,
huh?
sorry?
I said helping, huh?
Yeah. I would say so, because like, let me ask you a question, right? Like, let's say there is.
What's the counter?
Yeah.
Like, so is it if it's not helping, then it's what?
You know,
I'm actually genuinely curious about the perception. I'm not saying it's
I
true.
think I know where he's going.
I'm curious.
I will say and couch this that I'm starting shit, but you know, just influencing.
Yeah,
Well,
I think so, yeah.
manipulating is the word I want to
Yeah.
use, but manipulating is not necessarily a bad word.
Yeah, you're kind of saying like it can be done in a negative way where it's like, for example, the best product might get the worst product might actually get the most attention because like marketing markets it as the best. Right?
I think what you're saying is valid in the sense that like folks can manipulate, right? Like
Absolutely.
it's definitely the goal is to help decision making, but it is very easy to manipulate as well.
And and all this to say, in professionally sanctioned designations, there is a lot of manipulation as well. So if you're gonna come at me,
that's fine.
you know,
That's why we have the SEC
let's
to keep an eye on the CPAs.
let's not go into all the manipulation the finance guys do. But like I will say, like to your commentary, and this is actually something that people do talk about in marketing is like how can marketing ever be even perceived as good? Well, the good element of marketing is kind of like the idea that, you know, if there are, let's say, 4 medicines that do different things but all combat the cold, you can make sure that people understand exactly what each medicine does. Like this unique selling point or the unique like problem it's solving for each medicine, right? But to your point, the way it might actually be created is you take the same Tylenol and you kind of advertise it for 3 different use cases, even though it's the exact same. And this is a popular thing, by the way. Like a lot of Tylenols, like there's like Tylenol cold, and then there's like Tylenol relief. It might not be Tylenol specifically. There's a very popular name brand where like 3 of its like actual formulas are the exact same, but they're marketed differently and they're also priced differently. So to your point, it can be seen as an immoral thing, but the core of what I want to focus on today is like the professional designation point. And like the main thing I wanted to highlight is the reason why it's hard to have a professional designation in marketing is because, to your point earlier about travel, people make decisions differently each generation. People actually make decisions differently each year. Though the places they go to make those decisions change, the reasons why they make those decisions change, and then the information that they consider to make those decisions also change over time. Whereas, let's say, for example, in an accounting or a finance, you're dealing with some core fundamental consistent elements, like things like, you know, balance sheets and future projection, earnings per share, et cetera. You could highlight similar things. Like, for example, you might say pricing is always an element, right, in marketing as a thing to communicate.
CPM, something like that.
Right. But what I would try to like, and this is the thing, this is the way I try to understand it. The goal of accounting and finance has always been to basically make the business like more profitable, right? Like, would you guys fairly agree with that?
In finance?
In finance and
I
accounting.
think just to measure the performance
I
of
think
a
you
business.
could break down every function of a business into make the company more profitable.
Yeah, like either make it
I
more.
don't think that's a unique like core tenet of finance, particularly.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
but continue, reach your point.
But I was more so speaking in the sense of like.
Specifically, sorry, I would say like they optimize financial operations. So, you know, you squeeze out a few pennies here. Well, that's accounting, yes. But like sources of funding, trying to make sure profitability is uptight, you know, things like that. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to highlight is like, yes, it's all for the goal of maintaining profitability. Accounting, for example, it's like the better we can understand a business, the better we can make decisions, right? How has accounting innovated? It's become more efficient. Like in the past, you use a spreadsheet. Now there's softwares. Now there's more data connectors. It becomes more and more efficient. Finance is more so about like creating future value by understanding current value, right? And the methodologies to do so change, but that core fundamental element consistent. In marketing, the ways that people make decisions are constantly changing. And one of the easiest ways to highlight this is what each generation considers is healthy. Like just even on the tenement of what makes you healthy changes on a year-to-year basis. In one year, it's correlated with things you eat. In another year, it's actually more about movement and exercise. In another year, it becomes about sun exposure. So when it comes to things you eat, in certain years, it focuses on ingredients. In other years, it focuses on when and why you should eat. And because of those like storytelling mediums and those decision mediums change, you need to basically continue to adopt. And if you create like a professional line in saying, like, for example, if I sit here today and I'm like, one of the most effective ways of getting exposure is to hire a bunch of influencers. And you want to hire a bunch of influencers because people feel like they're authentic. When you see them organically on your Instagram feed, you feel like you're being exposed to. Well, guess what? That wouldn't have worked 20 years ago because people trusted traditional media. And then in 20 years, let's say like our current trend continues and we all have agents. Agents probably won't consider the organic nature of influencers, right? Agents might just purely digest data. And then in which case, the way that we market to people also has to change in that format. Even if there were agents, it still probably is important to understand the current position of a business. Even if we have agents, it's still important to understand the future potential of a business. And that's kind of like to me, like there is the CFA level 1 and the CFA level 2 and like the CPA. But like when you look at, for example, the Canadian Marketing Organization or the Canadian Marketing Association, their certifications actually change frequently. Like they'll have different certifications, but like they also get updated frequently. And this is also why, and this is kind of shitty to say, but like why gurus always target marketing. Like,
what do you mean gurus?
Like, well, actually, you know what? Gurus do target
Like,
trading sometimes too.
The online teachers,
gurus,
you know,
yeah.
the course sellers.
They teach you how to market, generally speaking. You're right. Sometimes they actually do Forex and like trading and stuff like that. But like,
sometimes,
you know what I mean? Like
times.
most of these
Crypto,
gurus.
Forex.
Yeah, actually,
anything where people can amass a big amount of money like very quickly.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So you know what? Like finance,
I think it's only
finance is elements.
I think it's only come into marketing because people perceive marketing as like a quote unquote easy thing.
Yep.
and a way to get attention.
Yeah. So I think that's my first and super, super simple lesson that I just wanted to kind of get across, you know.
I have questions.
Yes.
So I gather your thoughts, speak slowly. I understand the point about marketing not being a professional designation because the world of marketing evolves, and you know, it changes, the way people make decisions change. I guess looking at it from more about like mediums and core competencies, I'm curious, like, isn't that an element? Don't you think that could lead to the professional designation? And to illustrate what I'm trying to speak on, I could say traditional media, TV ads ruled, I would say, from the 90s to the early 2000s. And, you know, the people that were able to procure TV ads and understand what works, I mean,
was the most valuable.
Yeah, it was probably the most valuable competency and skill. And TV was the medium, and it's like you need to know how to do TV. I imagine before that was radio, and now we've evolved to performance marketing, where digital channels are huge, and we're talking about Google, and we're talking about Meta. And I know for the audience that doesn't know, that's Luke's specialty. Like, Luke knows how to create value using these digital channels, and that was, if I remember correctly, actually when you came into the workforce, like that's a core skill that makes people seek you out specifically because they're like, you know, I know this person that has this competency based off of the most relevant channels now. And that's when, and I know you've just given your journey right now, you've been exposed to another channel, which is the influencing channel, which requires a separate competency, even though it does involve the digital channels, but it's not necessarily performance marketing. And it involves like a different competency, knowing how to corral that. And so as someone in the industry where there's no professional designation, I'm curious how mediums and core competencies are assessed, and how that affects, you know, just kind of the way things are done and the way value is allocated. I don't know.
I think that's a good question. And I'm going to always try to go back to my root point, which is it's all about decision making. And in the sense of like, when consumers change, and that's why I always say like marketing is a little bit more dynamic, because accounting and finance to me is the core of it is understanding and projecting value. That doesn't change, but people change. You know what I mean? People change a lot. And why is it that, you know, like to your point, like why do core competency change? Why do different values happen? In the era of media buying, it was very hard to like communicate with people. Decisions were made on a much longer spectrum. So like that whole like skill in terms of project management, understanding slots in terms of like what slots are available, relationship management, etc. That was the key, right? But over time, like think about like way media buying works now. Like there's programmatic, there's like all these softwares where you never even have to talk to someone. Like there's these roles that are completely eliminated. You used to have to deal with like a brand manager for like CCTV and like CNN and etc. You can just go online and there's these platforms that you can just send your materials to. Some even make the media for you and they just get dispersed, right? So it's like that coordinator, the videographer that's in-house, those roles get eliminated because like things get innovative over time, right? There was a time where social media was like one of the most sought after like the roles, like social media managers. When we entered university, actually, that was like the thing. Social media managers, that was the channel. That was also when, you know, Meta and Instagram was very fresh, right? And those were like ways that I always say that's like the new trends are always decided by by the splash makers, because you as a small brand can't outcompete a big brand in traditional media. You can't. And when social media started, you could, you know, and then now that social media is saturated, you can't really outcompete a big brand in social media. So then you move on to the next channel, right? You look at the organic influencers. Well, now brands are buying out influencers. So what do? The new thing is kind of like UGC, right? So it's like you pay influencers to make content for you. There's actually a whole new trend now, which is it's employee-led content. Like it's like you go and you shoot content of employees. So you spend like 3 days, a quarter, and then you basically go and like what's the word? Like you effectively you're like like you're shooting like 3 hours of content and editing it into ads and like blogs and things like that you put out, right? And why is that? Because consumers are now looking at that UGC content and being like, this is fake. So everything is just being basically informed by the user. And the way we know this is because the ads that used to perform at XYZ margin no longer perform at XYZ margin. We keep creating the same kinds, they don't work, right? So you keep testing new ones and then they slowly start to inform the market. So like, I guess the question, this was quite a messy explanation, but the question of like, how do those competencies change? How do the channels change? The channels and competencies change because consumers change. Consumers start feeling like Meta is too saturated. They go to a different platform. Consumers start feeling a method like an influencer is too saturated. So they go to a different method. And honestly, genuinely speaking, my theory is in the next like 3 to 5 years, we're going to go actually back more towards traditional media in the sense like I believe there will be some traditional media channels that go back to the high production stuff and people start to really like that. And it starts to become differentiated because of AI content and UGC content and things like that. UGC is authentic, but it's low production. So I think like you're actually, this is my just like a kind of like a thought that I've been having. I think we're going to go more back towards traditional media. And I think this is funny because it's like, if my old manager is listening to this, I think one thing that's going to explode is print. Like, I think print is going to be a new differentiated thing. And I'll go one more above that. I think print is really underutilized in B2B, like sending custom letters and sending custom packages and things like that. Like if I had like a big B2B client, this would be something I would love to try out where it's like, let's say you had like 30 to 50 key accounts, you create custom letter packages and you send them to like the offices where like you basically account-based market each of these. But anyway, we're getting too deep into things like it's very cyclical. You know what I mean? Like people change, people go back to what they liked like 20 years ago because it feels fresh again, but it's not fresh, you know, and that's how things change over time.
Final question. So projecting in the future, you don't think there's ever a chance for a marketing professional designation?
I think it would just be a waste of time because I think what would happen is like someone would get that professional designation and it would become irrelevant in like
2 years,
in like 2-3 years. Cause like, again, like when I exited university, I was like, oh, I need to learn SEO and paid ads. I was taught none of that in university. I was taught like media buying. And by the way, the way they talked about media buying is pretty much obsolete too, like from university. Right. And most of my marketing degree was very conceptual. Like it was very like, how do you understand consumer behavior and things like that? So, and I also didn't go to class very often. So baby, don't listen to me. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
Very informative. Yeah.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Well, that does bring us to time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening and tuning into another episode. The performance marketers are back at it again. And until next time, one love.
We didn't even define what performance marketing is.
One
We
love.
asked you.
You defined it, yeah.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Aces.